Hello, welcome to Soulprint Intuitive Tarot for September 25th. So, wow, September is just about done. It felt like, I'm sure yesterday afternoon that it started, but for sure, September has been quite the little month. So much stuff coming out, so much information coming out. And, in some ways, it all just sort of starts to blur together. You have the Cohen book, the Mary Trump book that came out just a bit before that, and you have Fear, the Bob Woodward book. You have, investigative reporting talking about how, the intelligence agencies were, tweaking the information Trump was getting so as not to upset him because, Russia's interfering. Just so much has come out. The amount of money that was funneled to the Trump organization, the hotels, etc., for insane overbilling. The list goes on. And the reality is that in some ways, it's just almost hard to process. I mean, between the suckers and the losers comment, and then there isn't going to, I can't guarantee a peaceful, how did he say it? It was sort of like, if I don't win, then there won't be a peaceful transition of power. But if I do, then of course it's not going to be a problem at all. So he's really out there trying to throw stuff around. Now the thing about the whole comment about and a really big deal is being made about it, and I understand that. But you know what? Unless my memory is incredibly faulty, he really did pull the same stunt at the end of the last election, right? Well, I don't know if I'm going to adhere to the rules. I don't really know if I'm going to, accept who the winner is. I mean, we went through this already. This is not a new play, okay? And I don't remember what book it was in. It was in one of them. That strategy of, just say you're not going to accept the results. That came straight out of Russia, okay? And so you can bet they're just pushing replay again, except this time it's even more important because you're talking about an actual transition of power. Now, if I am incorrect, let me know. But as far as the way I understand it, your Constitution actually basically says, that one president's term expires at noon on whatever it is, the third Tuesday or a Monday of January, however that's sorted out. And then a new one must sort of be inaugurated, must, take the oath and come into office, even if it's the same one. So I'm not quite understanding, where this whole, okay, yeah, he could refuse and then it would have to go to court. But the Constitution, from my understanding of it, is pretty darn clear. So, but what I want to do is I want to take a look, enough of my, rambling here. I want to take a look at sort of some of the shiny balls that have been going on. How desperate are they to distract from what is going on? They want to distract from the whole, sure, go ahead and vote twice. Was that North Carolina? It'll be fine. Or South Carolina. I'm sorry. I just have trouble keeping those two straight. And I'm sure if I ever visited them, I would have great clarity. But since I haven't, you got to bear with me. I'm not going to leave office, to every other stupid and inane thing that has come out of his mouth to distract, because he doesn't want to be talking about COVID. He does not want to be talking about his bad poll numbers. He does not want to be talking about the fact that Biden is out fundraising him. And so he's just going to do whatever he needs to do to draw attention back, because he's addicted. He's absolutely addicted. He'll do whatever it takes to get the attention and the focus back on him. Okay, so let's take a look. All right, come on down. I have a question. And my question is, desperate strategy Trump, desperate strategy Trump, desperate strategy Trump. Yeah, more and more as he sees sort of, the people who he thought he could count on, organizations, donors, whatever it is, he's starting to see them, really abandon him. And this is the thing, like yesterday morning, they were talking about 200 retired military personnel who have all publicly backed Biden as opposed to Trump. And, you hear about that, it's sort of like, okay, well, that's reassuring, and everybody kind of moves on. But you know who doesn't move on? Trump doesn't move on, right? Every little slight, every insult, every questioning behavior, any of it, he absolutely holds on to. And so, as the news is bad day by day by day by day, he is really becoming so much more defensive, so much more aggressive. It is kind of like this, I'll win, I don't care what it takes, I can do it. And, that well might happen. Oh, no, I don't mean that well might happen. I mean that may well continue to be his strategy kind of going forward, okay? It's not going to abate. It's going to get worse. We were warned that it was going to get worse. We were warned that the worse the news got, the more extreme he would become. So in his fight for the White House, recognizing that that dream is over, he's now feeling incredibly defensive, hard put upon. He really loves being the victor. Now, make no mistake, he has won in some ways that I guess I want to say a lot of us don't even really understand. There's been a lot of stuff on, I've been seeing it on YouTube, but a lot of stuff out there about, what Trumpsters think, what Trump supporters actually say and believe. And it's as gobsmacking as anything you'll ever hear, because it's like, no, he never said anything about losers and suckers. And of course the virus is a complete fraud. And, he's done more for our vets than anybody. Excuse me. The stuff that comes out of their mouth, everything is a hoax, everything is a lie. The fact that the entire globe is suffering from this pandemic apparently is not significant to them in terms of defending the fact that the United States does not have a pandemic problem. So in a lot of ways, what he has done is he has really figured out a way to solidify, like make into concrete that base of his. They are not moving. They are not going anywhere. They are gearing up for this to be a massive, massive win for him. The reality, however, is that he is not, it's as if, it's as if they don't understand that he doesn't give a darn about them. I mean, I think that that's what's so confusing. He is only and always has only been focused on himself and his wealth and his image and his thoughts about himself and frankly about the world, okay? But on some level, there is that reality that people are making decisions and choices. Early voting has already started. And, he's recognizing that this is going to be a harder and harder lift. Anticipate over the next week or two more statements about things like getting rid of the ballots, more attempts to cast shade on the ballot system and voting early and absentee ballots. It's just what he does to keep that base of his fired up. He wants them to be all hot and bothered come the election, so they run out there and vote in person. Those ballots get counted first. Now, as this has sort of been unfolding, I have been watching something that's been very interesting. going on in my head. So for those of you who are more established viewers of this channel, you know that very often when I am looking at winners, political winners, the way I see it is like this great big green check mark right over the person's face, exactly like you see on, election night coverage, right? That's how I see it. And so as this has been unfolding, I've been seeing this sort of faded, distant image of Trump with that green check mark, and it's just sort of floats there. And so the other day I said, okay, could you please tell me what this is telling us? What does this represent? This picture of Trump with the green check mark on his face. And then they showed me Biden with his green check mark. And so what they were showing me was that Biden's is vibrant and strong and focused and determined. And Trump's check mark is fading and dissipating and growing paler and paler and paler. And so take comfort from that, but make no mistake, this guy is in a fight for his life. He is absolutely not going to surrender easily. He's not going to be like, oh, okay, it's not a problem. It is a problem, and he doesn't want to walk away from it because he's terrified of what is going to happen come the other end. And he's really trusting that there are partnerships that are going to be able to help him. He's really trusting, he really, really is depending on Russia somehow, manipulating this. And this, I've said this before, experts say that, if there's like a 2 or 3 point win, in certain areas, sometimes you can find some manipulation there. But once the spread is bigger than that, it's almost impossible to to just hide that kind of intrusion or interference. But he's really counting on it. It worked for him last time. He's still saying all the right things they want him to say. He's being the perfect parrot. And, he's just hoping that they can help pull it out as he continues to sort of create this feeling of unrest and chaos. But his tricks, as you've been noticing, his tricks backfire faster and faster these days, right? He tries to throw something out there and he just gets sort of almost caught in real time, and he gets pushback in real time. And so his bag of tricks is empty. And so what you now have is somebody who is desperate, who is trapped, who cannot see a way out, who is terrified of what that future is going to bring if he doesn't have that protection. He's desperate to hang on to every single little thing he can hang on to. It's all he's got, frankly, and he's really, on some level, I think, aware of the fact that he could lose a great deal more than just the election. There is so much waiting for him on the other side. And because Trump sort of has the mentality that he has, his solution to sort of unwanted legal attention is to drag it out, and then just pay it off, right? He doesn't win. He just quietly goes away screaming that he won. He doesn't seem to understand that that is probably not something that's going to work if it's actually a district attorney coming after you. That works in a personal lawsuit, right? Drag it out, and then finally just give up and throw some money at the problem. Just sort of like university and all the other like situations with him. He doesn't quite understand that he can't do that when he's up against a state as opposed to a person. And I can't remember where I heard it recently, but just recently there was, I think it may have been from the Bob Woodward book, where he literally said, well, if the Mueller thing just gets like too much, I'll just like pay them off. Like, that's his frame of reference. So communications are going to become even more bizarre, more estranged. The desperation is really, really going to start to show. he's just determined to break everything on the way down, right? He's like that angry person who is really furious, and they walk by something and they, you know, knock it over, or they sweep everything off of it, or they slam into something, right? It is that aggression, that idea of, I'll just take it down with me, because if I can't have it, nobody can have it. And so anticipate more of that. But again, I'm asking you to be really mindful of the fact that you don't fall into the trap of getting worked up and believing every little thing he says, because you know what? Here comes Biden. Here comes clarity and the truth, and here comes justice. It will come. But you need to be mindful and careful about your own emotions and what you're taking in. And in every step, as day by day goes by, okay, sorry about that disruption. Little Atticus decided he had a very upset tummy, and I was a little distracted by that. So everything's all better now, I think. Okay, so part of what's going on is you keeping your own emotions in check. Part of what is necessary is you being very mindful about, Russian bots and the things you're consuming or not consuming on media. There's more talk about the Russians actually trying to manipulate the numbers the night of the election or send out false information. So again, be mindful of that. But it's about what you do in every moment going forward. And I know that you all have done so much already and you're exhausted. But part of what's going on now is that Trump is becoming more and more extreme in the things he says and does and thinks and processes. And so the only way to push back is every time you hear one of these insane statements, that's when, once again, you reach out to your representatives and saying, is this tolerable? Is this acceptable to you? Are you not going to say something about the fact that this man just wants to never surrender the presidency? Yeah, so, definitely, it's time to be as proactive as you can. And of course, you guys, I know I'll have your plan. Some of you have already voted already because you're mobilized, and understand that the behavior that he displays these days really does put him at the other end of the spectrum. Okay, the more he thinks he's energizing the base, the more he is energizing people who realize exactly how dangerous he is, and they need to get him out of office, and they need to do everything they can down ballot to ensure that not only is he not president, but more importantly, that the Republican stranglehold that has taken place over the last little while get sort of broken down a little bit. And so some of those red states, aren't quite so red. Because what is happening here, honestly, is you have the will of a core group of hardcore, frankly, religious conservatives who really do feel it is their mission to assert their will on the will of the American people. That is how come in instance after instance after instance, those Trump supporters' belief structure is like almost always in opposition to what the rest of the country thinks. And even some of Trump's supporters, for example, do not support the whole Ginsburg replacement thing right away. Even his supporters don't approve of that. But the point is that he's kicking. It's like he's taking octane now, right? Because it's so bad. The news is so bad. It's just not working for him. And it's like he is just going to rev up and rev up. This is what happens when, you're desperate. The Biden-Harris team is going to continue to apply some rather significant pressure, not only, of course, with the upcoming debate on Trump, but also the Harris-Pence debate is, also going to strengthen their positions with, what is it? I think it's like 10% of the American population. It says they are still actually undecided. So, I guess we shall see, we shall see. But there's definitely a sense that the pressure from outside is going to increase, like the Biden-Harris team scoring some really good points. The poll numbers are going to continue to be really bad. They're not going to be getting good information. Or no, they're not going to be getting information that makes them happy in the Trump re-election campaign. There's investigations going on to the way Trump spends money. He doesn't seem to be able to handle even the easiest questions. His answers are disjointed and they don't make a lot of sense. So the more pressure is applied, kind of the more crazy you're going to see. And when that happens, you're going to hear more and more of this bizarre justification nonsense that goes on. And again, if those other senators or those House Republicans are busy sort of being quiet or condoning, that's again when people have to push back and say, I'm watching you, I'm watching what you're doing and saying, and I am one of your constituents. Smarten the hell up. Listen, I know it is easy to get scared, to get worried, to get anxious, but him staying in office is not something that is sort of divinely guaranteed. It is not destined. And even though he thinks it was destined, even though he believed that, he was brought into the presidency for a higher purpose, and that's not even true. He didn't believe that at all. He just believed he could use that to gin up those hardcore religious people who just wanted to believe, okay? And wanted to believe that there was somebody who was going to come along who was finally going to condone, accept, and in fact encourage their behavior, whether it was racist, whether it was homophobic, whether it was misogynistic. It doesn't matter. They wanted somebody in office who at least said the things that were important to them were important to him, even though we know they're not. But he's losing ground. He's not going to be able to reclaim the ground he has lost. I mean, Biden now nationally holds a solid 10-point lead ahead of Trump. Understand, Hillary Clinton had a lead of, I think it was 2 or 3%, broadly speaking. There's a huge difference between 3% and 10%. And it's important that people remember that, latch on to the hopeful stuff and pay attention to it. Feed that. Don't, get wrapped up in the fact he's going down one way or the other. He is absolutely going down. So the reality is, let's focus on something that is going to, let's focus on doing things and thinking things that are going to be positive in terms of bringing Biden-Harris ticket into the White House, okay? And you'll notice I did not say, and get rid of Trump. You only focus on the positive, okay? He's destined to have his heart broken, and you know what? I got to tell you, more and more, it feels like those kids of his are also going to be in some really serious legal jeopardy going forward. They are not going to get away with the things they think they're going to get away with. There are going to be more lawsuits thrown at them. There's going to be more investigations done. And, they're the ones who know where the money is buried. They know where their secrets are hidden. And so there's going to be a lot of pushback on that, but honestly, they really are just ultimately going to lose, okay? Because it doesn't matter. He just has to be right. He's not prepared to sacrifice. He's not prepared to compromise. And that family is exactly the same. They were all apples from the same tree. Okay. Now, I just, I'm just going to take a quick moment. So, don't forget to keep that picture in mind of the very bold green check mark over Biden's face. So that's a good one. Try not to get trapped into the kind of crazy that's going to go on now. You know, we were all warned that he was going to become more desperate. His speech, his actions, his behavior are going to become darker. And he's going to be just feeling like he is in complete and total power. He's like power tripping right now. And I don't want you to feed into that, okay? I want you to just not feed into that, all right? So listen, let's have a good weekend, one and all. Let's take some time to just chill out, decompress. You've got the debate coming next week. So I guess this Monday's reading about the coming week for Trump should be really interesting. So I'm looking forward to actually doing that reading. This Sunday's Positive Energy Circle is going to be about protecting the debate, the integrity of it, and protecting Joe Biden and giving him the strength and the clarity and every single skill and talent that he needs to be able to just really clearly already put Trump in his place. So if you're interested in that, check into that. Also, I just want to mention again, there is a second channel that I have called Soulprint Insights, and many of you on this channel have subscribed to that channel, and I thank you for that. But I want to just, for new viewers, the Soulprint Insights channel is sort of more all things metaphysical. You know, so we talked about like life purposes on there, and energy and crystals and sort of different objective ways to look at things, just from a spiritual perspective or mindset. So if you're interested, it's it's Soulprint Insights, and there is a link actually at the bottom of the little box below me. So I invite you to come over and check out the Insights channel. Videos on that channel are released on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'll look forward to seeing you there. Maybe that would be lovely. Okay. I hope wherever you are safe. I hope wherever you are able to get some moments of relief. And I would like all of us to just take a moment, if you wish, to just as we wrap this, just send some energy to all of the places that have been really suffering from extreme weather. You know, whether it is the hurricanes, whether it is sort of some of the tornadoes that are being spawned by the hurricanes, whether it is fires or flooding. Let's just all just take a moment and send energy to Gaia, to Mother Earth, and help in any way we can with her healing, because it's getting really hard out there, and we really need to stick together for that which is what we are trying to accomplish, to that better place, to that new place, that different place. Until next time, take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.